What's up, shooters? Today we are talking about the top 3 Ashika Island setups now that the RPK has been nerfed and the Fennec has been absolutely demolished. Now, those two weapons have been the absolute meta for the entirety of the game so far. There hasn't really been much that comes too close to those in terms of being a viable match for quads. Solos, yeah, you can run a lot of things. The damage per mag doesn't really matter as much for solos. But today we're talking quads because somehow there still is no trios for Ashika Island. So what we're going to do today is, because I know there's a lot of different types of players out there, I like to give 3 different options as the meta. I'm going to give an AR meta, I'm going to give a LMG meta, and I'm going to give you the sniper meta for those who like to do so. Now, first off, we're going to go with the AR meta. Let me hide myself real quick so you can see. Okay. What we are running is going to be overkill for all 3, okay? You can have your perk package set up however you would like, but I'm going to run overkill on all 3. That way we give you the long range and the short range. First, we're going the ISO Hemlock, aka the New Growl or ACR. The AIM OPV4 is really where it's at in terms of sights right now. We want it to be tuned as far as possible because this is our long range weapon in this class setup. We're going to go the 45 round mag. Our only other option on this weapon is the 20. Underbarrel, we're going the Edge 47 grip. Recoil, aiming stability. The natural aim down sight time on this weapon is pretty fast, so you don't need to do too much for it. We're going the Harbinger D20 on the muzzle. Recoil smoothness. Again, we're not doing too much on the tuning. We're just little adjustments here and there. We don't want to take too much away from the other aspects of the weapon because without any attachments on this weapon, it's already very good. Last but not least, we're going to go the FSS laser. This one we cranked all the way up to sprint to fire, but then we had the aiming idle stability as well because it does waver a little bit, but once you start shooting, this thing is an absolute laser and it melts. The other option that's viable for the AR class right now is the STB or the Lockman 556. Those also have really low recoil, but they don't pack the same punch that the ISO does right now. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, what we're going to use close quarters wise is the Lockman sub. This is the #1 top tier viable close quarters weapon for everything Ashika Island and quads. Yeah, you can still use the Fennec. Yeah, you can still use something else submachine gun wise for solos, but in terms of damage per mag, this is absolutely the #1 submachine gun right now if you're going to play big team games. This takes down whole teams in a clip, as long as you're hitting all of your shots. So what we're going to go here is, yeah, the 50 round drum slows you down a little bit, but it doesn't slow you down that much more than the 40 round. And those 10 rounds make an absolute difference in quads, okay? So you can do either one of those. It's up to you on how fast you want to be moving. But with how much slower Warzone 2 is compared to Warzone 1, you don't really notice that much of mobility issues when you go between the two. The only option here is to run hollow point. Here's how we're tuning it. We are cranking up the damage range for the most part and a little bit of the bullet velo. Here with the muzzle, we are going with the Syngard MKV. We're going to tune it slightly to recoil and slightly to the bullet velo, and you will notice if you crank down that bullet velocity, it feels like you're missing more shots than you should. So make sure you don't take away from that too much. If you want to go towards the aim idling stability here, that's fine, but you don't really need that as much with an SMG. Next, we are going with the barrel, the FTAC M sub 12 inch. Again, we cranked up the aim down sight here a little bit and the recoil here. You don't really need too much aim walking speed unless you're really trying to creep up on somebody, but in Resurgence, you're so close to everyone, you're not going to use that as much. In Al Majra on a big map, yeah, I totally get the aim walking speed, but here there's so much running and gunning and a lot of people moving around close quarters. It's harder to hear people coming, and you're not going to really use the aim down sight walk as much unless it's late game or you really are the only person left on your team trying to creep up on somebody else that is alone or with another person maybe. Last but not least here, we are going with the LM Stockless mod. This gives us a lot more aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and overall movement speed. Now that is the submachine gun that we're going to run on this class as well as the LMG class. So when we get to the LMG portion of this, we are not going to go over the subby again. It will be redundant. We're going to run smokes here, we're going to run frags, and we are going to run this specific perk package. Here's what we're doing here. Obviously overkill to have both weapons. We are going to run double time. That way you can move a lot faster because it is resurgence. You need that little bit of extra speed. Third perk, we are going fast hands. The biggest key here is to swap our weapons faster, especially if you play faster than most people. You're going to be in a lot of gunfight and you're going to run out of ammo fast, especially in this game compared to Warzone 1. And with how slow the reload times are on every single weapon, you're better off just switching weapons at this point. Last but not least, we are going with the fourth perk as high alert, especially on this class. It is such an advantage in resurgence to know when people are looking at you, whether you need to get to cover or not, because the TTK is so fast. You always want to be playing to cover, but especially with high alert, it will give you that little extra split second of knowing, hey, I got to get to cover now. Next, we are going to go with our sniper meta. I have a different take on the sniper meta than most people do. I am not a quickscope connoisseur. I am not a dominant player with the sniper. I am an absolute run and gun guy, but when I do like to snipe, this setup really gives me an advantage in comparison to using the SPX or if I was going to use the MCPR. Here's what we're going to go with. We'll talk about the sniper first. We are going with the Signal 50. And when it's not a one-shot kill, which it's not anymore, they got rid of the incendiary one-shot snipers pretty quickly, might I add. This is the only sniper capable of taking teams out with the sniper quickly because you can shoot it so rapidly. So if you're like me and don't really care about nerding out on bolt action rifles and just want to get the job done, this is the sniper meta for you. We're going barrel 29-inch TV kilo. We want the recoil steadiness and the damage range for the most part. 7-round mag, again, because you're going to be shooting this much more often than a bolt action rifle. You want that extended mag. We're going high velocity, so you know that that bullet's getting there on time and you're hitting your shots. Again, if you don't have a high bullet velocity on your weapon in this game, the bullet drop and the feeling of hitting your shots when you should feels way less consistent. We go with the stalwart grip as the rear grip. Again, I kind of left the recoil steadiness alone because I wanted to keep some of that aim down sight speed. Aiming idling speed, I cranked that bad boy up because I'm not really sprinting with a sniper in this game. You can't quick scope people one shot anyway, so you're gonna play it more of a relaxed sit back approach with the sniper more often than not, because it's not a one-shot kill anymore. So we want the aiming idle stability to be higher, so we make sure that we're definitely hitting our shot. Next, we go with the SO inline stock. Aim down sight speed, this one in comparison to aim walking speed, you're not going to really need that as a sniper. And again, crank both all the way up because you do not need aim walking speed in this game when you are sniping at all. You never use it. Now, almost more importantly is our sniper support weapon. I, again, go a little bit off the norm here, and my favorite weapon to use with a sniper right now, especially in Resurgence, because the map is smaller, is the AK-74U, guys. Now, with your ammunition on the 74U, you can go either one, whether you like hollow point or you want the high velo. If I was on Al Mazrah, I may go high velo, but on Resurgence, I want that one less bullet to kill, and I'm going to stick with the hollow point because there's a lot more close range engagements with this weapon. Now, you could tune it however you'd like. I like the recoil steadiness and the damage range here because I'm going to be using it at a longer distance than a subby would because it's my mid-range as well. I really like this weapon because it is the perfect mid-range weapon. I shouldn't be using this long ranges anyway, but if you need to, it can hit a little bit, but this melts at medium range and it competes at close range with subbies. If you hit the first shot, unless you're against the Fennec or the Lockman sub, you should win against every other submachine gun. And you don't need a sight on it. It just feels very comfortable to use. There's low recoil, packs a punch. I highly recommend this as your sniper support if that's the way you're going to go. Underbarrel, FSS, Shark Fin 90. That's the tuning there. Harbinger D20 again as the muzzle. That's what we're running, tuning with this attachment. With the rear grip, we're going to go with the Ivanov ST70 grip. Crank that sprint to fire speed up just so that it can compete a little bit better with the subbies. And last but not least, we are going with the Spetsnaz S10 stock. and crank that aim down sight speed again to compete with the submachine guns a little bit more. All right, and finally, number 3, our LMG meta here. Like we talked about before, the submachine gun close quarters is going to be the Lockman sub. It's the same build as our AR loadout. Over here though, our new LMG meta is the RAL MG. They nerfed the RPK recoil and damage range. This is now the fastest killing LMG and really at range weapon in the game. The Seiken and the RPK now at 50 meters both kill at about 0.63 seconds. And those were the fastest killing weapons at range in the game. Now, after the nerf and the new update, the RAL kills at a TTK of 0.46 seconds. That is a drastic difference. That is 1 or 2 bullets less than the other 2 weapons. And that is why we need to go and make this our new at-range choice, especially on Al Mazrah. Ashika Island, it depends on your playstyle. If you're a slow mover, go with the RAL. If you're a faster mover, you're gonna go with the ISO Hemlock. That's why I love giving all of these options, because not everybody's playstyle is the same. Now, again, playstyle wise, if you're a slower mover, here's what we're gonna do. You can get rid of this 50 round belt mag and go with the 100 round belt mag. This one sits at 75 rounds. If you don't want to touch it, you don't have to. I went with the lighter approach here because I'm more of a mover. If I'm going to use this, I want to be a little bit lighter because the RAL is heavy and slower. Again, this is a preferential one. This is not a necessity to have. If you want to spend your 5th attachment on something else, maybe like a laser to aim down sight faster, that's totally up to you. But I wanted to be able to move a little bit quicker, so I picked the 50 round. Ammunition, we go high velo, so we make sure at range we are hitting the shots that we should. Muzzle, we're going the TACG 76, which just adds better control of my recoil to the weapon. My barrel is another ranged barrel. It gives me damage range. It's the 26.5 Demo Field Pro barrel. Bullet velo, those are the 2 most important things when we're talking about being at range. And this thing melts. Aim Op V4, but that is what we are running with the RAL. Again, tweak this to your liking. Not everybody plays the same, so if you think you want to move faster, tweak it to the faster moving attachments, but those are the weapons you should be using. But that is going to do it for our top 3 Ashika Island metas. If you think that I'm missing something, or there's a weapon that you like that you think I'm overlooking, throw that bad boy in the comments. Let everybody know what attachments you use with that weapon. And if you've made it this far in the video, make sure you take that RAL and pepper the like button for me. If you want to be updated with everything Ashika Island, Al Mazrah, Warzone, please hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And as always, guys, see you on the battlefield. Happy shooting.